All right. Well, welcome to Mama's podcast. We're creating this podcast because we're mainly doing it for ourselves, I guess, to kind of reflect and connect and talk about things that might be happening while we're living together and what it's like to live together as a mother and grandmother and raising kids together. Um, so yeah, talk about motherhood, womanhood, grandmotherhood, childhood, and then we both have experience working in education, so kind of linking childhood to that. Um, just gonna be talking about life in general, all the things, marriage, divorce, single life. um, so this episode is gonna be our first. We are kind of gonna do a little introduction of who we are, things we want to talk about, and yeah, see where things go from there. So, I guess I'll introduce my mom first. This is Anna Peters, I guess formerly known as Anna Ampudia, from Colombia. Um, Born and raised, she moved to the States when she was 20 with her American husband, who was from Rochester, New York. You guys didn't live there long, right? Like a year?
Yeah, in New York,
Until
1 year.
you moved to LA, where you lived for what, 8 years?
Yes, about 6 years, I think.
You lived there
I
until
live,
you
I live, no,
divorced, right?
I lived couple years in New York and then about
Oh.
6 years in LA. Yeah, and then 1 year in my own. So
Oh, on your own in LA?
yeah, I was separated. So before the divorce was legalized, so it's a total of 9 years. Yeah.
See, I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
So you lived by yourself in LA? Like your own
Yes, I
apartment
have.
or?
I have a roommate. Yeah, and I live there very close to my husband's job, like 2 blocks away.
Oh, wow.
So he will drop by to see me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard. The divorce are hard, so especially when you had shared so many years with somebody and so I did love him. There was love, but we end up going in different directions. We had different needs and wants. We were too young when we got married. Kind of
Well,
didn't
yeah,
know.
you were 20.
Kind of didn't know what I really wanted in life.
And so
Yes,
then after that, you moved to New Orleans to
I
live.
moved to New Orleans. I moved back with my parents, and in New Orleans was my dad, my mom, and my two siblings, two sisters. So it's three adult daughters and the parents. It's quite an experience. Yes, actually, it was really nice. It was really nice to be reunited again with them. I felt the comfort that I needed after my divorce and the support that I needed emotionally and economically as well.
And then especially like New Orleans versus LA, right? Like New Orleans felt a lot more like Colombia than LA did.
Yes, it's interesting. I'm glad you pointed out because, yeah, LA is very fast paced and it is very as American as you can get, I guess. Louisiana has, New Orleans has the French influence, which I found it closer to our culture
The
and
Latin, yeah.
the Latin culture, the unification of the family. They're very tight with their family, and that reflects in their culture and their eating habits and all the activities they do. They are including family. So that wasn't such a drastic change. So everything felt welcoming. I felt like, oh, I'm home.
And so how long were you in New Orleans until you met Dad?
Um, 7 years, because I married you, after I met your dad and we got married quickly. Um, we lived in New Orleans for 10 years, and then we moved to Belgium.
No.
No, what do you mean?
What do you mean we lived in New Orleans for 10 years until we moved to Belgium?
Well, you were 8 years old.
Yeah. So I asked you how long did you live in New Orleans
It's a total of
until
17 years. I live in New Orleans for 17 years.
So how old were you when you moved there?
I was 29
And so you met Dad at what?
when I was 36.
Okay. So the answer is 7 years. And then you met Dad, you got married like right away. And then when I was 2, we left New Orleans.
Oh, well, yeah, you mean.
Yeah.
I was thinking the whole Louisiana thing.
No, when
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
2, we left New Orleans
Mm-hmm.
as a family of 4 already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys established a whole family of 4 in like, what, 2 years?
Yeah, it was pretty quick because I was getting older and I wanted to have kids. I was 37 when you were born, and I was almost 39. I was going to turn. Your brother was born in November, and the next February I will turn 39 years old. So.
So yeah, and then we moved to, was it New Jersey first?
Mm-hmm.
And then Philly, and then Houston, and then we were back in Louisiana in Baton Rouge,
Yes.
and then Zachary, and then St. Francisville, and
Central.
then, yeah. So, and then we moved to Belgium when I was 8.
I was just jumping the whole time.
No, yeah, a lot happened in between there.
Well, because I was thinking the picture of living Louisiana, and I
Yeah,
live
but I do think New Orleans is very different than, yeah, Zachary or St. Francisville or
Oh, well, yeah.
Denham Springs.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
So yeah. Anyway, then I come into the picture, and obviously I just see you as my mom. So you were a stay-at-home mom until the divorce. So when I was what, like 13, 14?
14.
Well, yeah, I remember I was 13 when I moved back to the States, and then that summer I turned 14. And I guess that's when you started working in Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, it wasn't long, like half a year later, you came back to the States too.
Yeah,
So in Belgium,
six months. Yeah, exactly. 6 months later, after you had come.
In Belgium, you were cleaning houses. Then you come to the States, and then you start working at the Family Dollar in Clinton.
Yeah, I was actually a manager assistant with a big title and a lot of work for $8 an hour. Yeah,
Yes.
it's hard work.
But yeah, in small towns, there's not much. And that was like the closest town to Norwood, which is like
There was
nothing.
not opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is why we decided to do our little plan of you coming here to San Antonio to live with my cousin, your niece, Monica. And then, yeah, me going back to Belgium for a year so you could save up, get your own apartment, which you did. And then, yeah, I came back to live with you and finished high school here in San Antonio. So, yeah, while you were here, your first job was the daycare?
Yes. Well, I had to thank you because actually were you the one that came out with the idea.
Well, I just
Really?
knew we weren't going anywhere, and then you would just keep abandoning me in Norwood to like go to Baton Rouge and stuff, and I'd be like, okay, hey, why am I getting stuck in the woods? Well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
but that will.
oh well, we're also forgetting um Yvette.
Oh yeah, oh my
That's
God.
what, cause when I first came back to the States, I was just so happy to be back and just out of Belgium, like being like I just felt like an alien in Belgium. I guess I was, um, and so I was just so happy to be back that yeah, I was satisfied living in Norwood. I was like thrilled to be there and go to the tiny private school, Silliman, and all that stuff.
Plus, you had my parents there. And...
No, Papa had already passed away, and
Oh, he had.
Mama was
Oh,
in Baton Rouge with the Luce.
oh. I'm
Um,
sorry. I thought it was.
so I was staying. Me and Natalia were sharing a room for a while, but that didn't really work out so well. So then eventually, I started staying with Mama in the little house, and then before I knew it, you were there, and then we stayed in the little house. Um, so yeah, the next year, that was my 8th grade. And then the first half of ninth grade, the first semester, we were in Frisco, Texas, right outside of Dallas, which just, yeah, opened my world to like, oh, wait, I don't have to live like in the backwoods of Louisiana. There's a whole new world. I was able to walk and go to a huge. To me, it seemed like a huge school, and then to Dom, he thinks Lone Star was tiny.
Oh wow.
But yeah, I'm coming from a K through 12 private school in the middle of nowhere, and he's coming from. That's all he knows is just these huge Texas schools.
Yeah, everything
Um,
is big in Texas. Yeah.
yes. So anyway, that one semester like changed my whole life, and it was yeah freshman year too. So like I don't know, just changed my whole perspective. Didn't want to leave. We go back to Norwood, and I'm just like, okay, I need to get out of here. I can't like, and yeah, you obviously weren't making any money, so like we were just gonna be stuck in Norwood forever. If we were to keep doing what we were doing, uh, which yeah, after seeing everything that I've seen, we just neither one of us was really satisfied with that. So like that was kind of like our escape plan. And the funny thing is now I wouldn't mind living in Norwood. It's so peaceful and quiet.
That is so funny.
um, but
It
yeah.
is. It is very peaceful.
Mhm.
But sometimes so much peacefulness can be a
Yeah,
little too
every
much.
every spot has its pros and cons. So anyway, I spend sophomore year when I'm 16 in Belgium, while you're working at the daycare, and then you start working at Greenfields as a cashier, which you stay there for a few years.
Yes.
But you're also working at nursing homes and doing the wine tastings and yeah, working wherever you can to make
Try to save
yeah.
save us some money. It was hard, but I was lucky that I was young enough still to make it happen, to have
Yeah.
diverse jobs, and to really didn't have much time for myself, but it was good. It was worth it. We accomplished the goal of
Yeah.
saving the money, getting
And
the
it was
apartment.
also because you wanted to stay in one of the most expensive areas in this city.
But there's a reason why.
Exactly for the education. And so yeah, me as a kid, I didn't really get it because yeah, I was like, why do I have to work at 16 and like just go to school and work and like you're working 2, 3 jobs? Like why can't we just go live somewhere more affordable and we were just in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I was like, we can get a house like on the south side until I went to college and yeah, did student teaching on the south side, and I was like, oh, this is why. Yeah,
Yeah.
total different school systems.
Different worlds too.
Yes.
That's what I was telling you. Two women alone cannot be living in these areas by themselves. It's the best I could say at that time. That it wasn't as safe.
So yeah, and here, yeah, the goal is to hopefully move back to the Stone Oak area. So then after that, yeah, I did 2 years of college. Then it was time for me to transfer, and yeah, I realized the only way to go to school over here is by going thousands of dollars into debt, which I did not want to do. So that's why I went back to Belgium to try and go to school there, which is way harder than school here. So that didn't really work out. Also, the whole system is just really different. You have to go to school for like 25 hours a week, where here it's full time is considered 12 hours a week. And like working is like near impossible. So it was really hard for me to like kind of like support myself and live on my own and go to school at the same time. Just, yeah, whole other story.
Yeah, which it makes it like, because in Belgium the system is different. They don't really, the students don't really work.
Because,
The
yeah, as a
students,
student, you shouldn't be working. You should be focusing on your studies and
yeah,
your
exactly.
career.
But that's the different way. Like over
Yeah.
here, it's rare to find a student that doesn't work.
Yeah, here, like, yeah, you're expected to work in high school. You're expected to work as soon as you can. Here, it's all about work, work, work. As soon as you have a baby, go back to work. As soon as, like, but anyway.
You're expected to be productive.
Yeah, but so those
in
are
any time of your life. Yeah.
That's some of the things we'll be talking about. But back to the introduction. So when I moved to Belgium, you moved to Seattle to go be with family because, yeah, the same cousin that we came here for was over there with her mom and brother and family up there. So, and over there you just worked at daycares, right? Well, in Costco too.
I worked Costco. Yeah, I had two jobs too. The Costco and then the school.
Did you always have those two jobs? Or first it was just Costco, right?
First was just Costco, but then I work in the school.
Because I remember you were not able to do that for too long because it was a lot.
Yeah, they were really far away from each other.
And I couldn't believe you were doing, yeah. You'd work all day at the daycare and then go work the evening till like 11 at Costco.
I can't remember for how long, but yeah, it wasn't too long.
And yeah, you just
kind of burned out at that point. I wasn't as young.
Anyone would, regardless of age. Like, that's just a lot. Which is, but by then, since Belgium didn't work out, I was only there for a year again. But I moved back in with you again. Cycle repeats. And then I end up going to UW in Bothell and working at that daycare for UW. Which was better than the daycare you were working at. So I got you the job there, higher pay, and you're able to quit both those
Costco.
Other jobs.
Yeah. That's a good change. Yeah. I'm glad you went to that place.
Which again was thanks to Monica, because of her friends that worked there got me the job.
Yeah,
there.
Monica has been a big person in our lives.
Yeah, she's influenced a lot.
All our major changes. Monica, my niece, yeah. I always had a good, close relationship with her. And that's what she always wants me around, even up to today. Yeah. She wishes I still was back in Seattle.
Well, I'm happy you're here.
What?
I said, well, I'm happy you're here instead.
Oh, well, yeah. I wouldn't change it. I am happy to be here too. It's totally different though. It's like I feel like I go through so many changes in my life. And now this is a new stage. It's a new stage. It's like,
Your retirement / grandma stage.
yeah. Yeah, you know, like you always hear how grandparents love their grandchildren, and I mean, so usually that's what everybody says, you know. It's different when it happens to you. Then you understand, you know, the love that you can have for your grandkids is, I would say, it's pretty similar to your own child. I think the big difference is that you age wise, you're much older, and hopefully a little wiser. It has made a few more mistakes in between, so it give you the chance to reflect a little bit more. But I still got my good shares with mistakes that I still do, because the way that I grew up and the way that I see
Also,
things is
because you're
different.
human, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, 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 exactly. But anyway, I had you to correct me if I made mistakes. Um, but yeah, still, I think the responsibility of raising a child is still huge.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't minimize at all just because you've done it before, because each child is different.
Yeah.
And Junior definitely has a strong personality and strong
She's
will.
a character.
But it's good that she's like that. We are blessed the way that she's that way, because she's a strong. She will be a strong woman, and I wouldn't doubt that she'll be a leader in at something. You know, she
Yep.
had all the attitudes, the right attitude to be grown a leader, and I think she has the advantage to have you and me at the same time, because it's two different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, we have the same goals, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's another thing that we'll be talking about too, is like, I guess, like family dynamics, and like how these days it's what normal is to just be like the mom and the dad and that's it, kind of like this little nuclear family. But yeah, not that long ago it was communities raising children, and it was normal for like the grandparents, and I guess it still is, somewhat, just not for the majority, um, for grandparents, aunts, uncles, whatever, everybody to be in the picture. um, so anyway, that's kind of your career. um, that's what I can think of for your introduction. So now, if you want to introduce me.
I don't know. Hold on. I think we're gonna have to pause it,
Why?
because I don't know how to.
Eh,
Do.
well, you're the one who's known me since I was born.
Yeah, but I don't think I had nothing much prepared.
I didn't have anything prepared
Mm-hmm.
either.
Well, I when when I had you, when I was pregnant with you, I was, like I said earlier, I was 37 years old, and then you were born, my second marriage, my first child. I did want to have a daughter, and I had the blessing that it was a daughter. And it's funny enough because, yeah, I see a lot of resemblance in Junior, which is little Dominic. And you know, the way that you were when you were a little girl, you were headstrong, you know what you want, and you knew when you want it, you know, and it's great qualities. Not surprised that you had accomplished a lot. You had taken different routes, but in the end, you are focused, you know. You you followed your heart, basically.
Okay, speaking of being focused, who am I? What have I done? Where am I coming from? Like,
Okay. Well, this is Gabriela, my daughter, and she has lived a long life in regard of experiences because she was born to a Belgian and a Colombian, just two different
a
uh,
very
cultures,
Creole mix.
two different cultures, and she has been all over the States and grown up in Belgium too as well, and been back and forth. So she had been in so many different schools. She had a share of diverse cultures and upbringings, but she does have, I think, parents that love her very much and support her, has supported her always in any endeavor that she wants to tackle. And I think with most people, you know, you come to. I always thought that when you are 17, 18 years old to decide what are you going to be is kind of too soon because you don't know yourself. And I guess you were an example of that. You didn't know which direction to go. Plus, you had gone in so many different ways that we had taken you pretty much living like a gypsy kind of life. So, of course, she wasn't going to have like a straight focus on one thing. This is what I want and this is what I'm going to be. Because by she experiences so many different cultures and places, she had a taste of of many different things. And to have a clear view, what is it, where you want to be, and which direction you want to go, it would have been kind of difficult. And that reflects in the different decisions that you have made through your education. But one thing for sure, I think that you know is that you had clear what you don't like and what you like, you know, what you approve or disapprove. And I think that's one of the biggest games that you had, your own perspective of things. And I think that's one of the things that I admire most and respect from you, that you won't put up with anything that you don't like. And that's the way it should be, you know. As me coming from another culture, I learned different things that you put up with a lot of things.
Yeah. I
Because
also think it's the times too. I think there are things that I do still put up with that was up to me, I wouldn't. But yeah, even going through school and like studying education and like there was a lot that I did not want to put up with or that I didn't agree with. But yeah, I guess I did like debate with my professors and tell them, let them know I do not agree with this education. Um,
which
yeah.
is not going to give you good points at the end of the day.
No, it did.
Oh, it did. For
Because
some people, yeah, some teachers.
I guess they could still see that I was passionate about it. They could still see that I was putting in the work. I was still doing the assignments. I was just not agreeing to what they were saying being the main cause of all these problems within the education system. They're saying that the main problems are race and division and that the solution is multicultural education. But being an extremely multicultural person, I know that that's not it. I know that the problem, of course, race is a problem. Of course, people need to feel included. But the main problem is greed. The main problem is money, is financing. It all comes down to logistics. If people aren't given the same opportunities, if they're not given the same quality of education, of course it's not going to be equal. Like, it doesn't matter what color you are, or where you come from, or who you are. If you don't have any money, or if you live in an area, it's just like how the whole school system is funded. It's local instead of federal. So depending on which area you live in determines what kind of school you're going to go to. Unless, like in Louisiana, pretty much you just pay for private school, and all of the public schools are horrible. And New Orleans doesn't even have any public schools.
Anymore.
It's only charter schools. But anyway, that's a whole nother that's a
Subject.
whole episode on its own. But back to my introduction.
Yeah. So, um, like I said, she learned to have a very understanding of a lot of different uh, cultures and people or ways of life, and since a very young age, and has made a big difference in the development of, of her own self. So there was, as parents, we realized that later on in life that we made so many mistakes, but there were some few good things that we make, and they were key for towards her education, I think. And I had to say that I am very proud of having a child now that had accomplished a lot, way a lot more than her dad and I, and the education. She has a degree in education, a master's degree.
Yeah, but you guys still accomplished so much too. Like, just speaking of dad, like, what? Like, all of the things he's accomplished: firefighter, policeman, painter, plumber, baker, chef, bar owner. Like, I
Yeah,
could not even,
imagine. Yeah,
yeah. And then how he grew up too: orphan, born in prison, like crazy orphanage in the middle of nowhere, Belgium. Um, he has accomplished a lot to help
yeah,
me get to where I am today. And then same with you, coming from the valleys of Colombia.
yeah.
And yeah.
But they have like a more stable life, because my dad was has his own business, and
Okay, yes, but you're also born in the 50s in Colombia.
yeah,
Went to all girl schools,
yeah, that's
raised
true.
very Catholic. And I mean, I love Papa, but yes, he was an alcoholic who was not always the nicest to Mama.
Yeah,
And yeah, just raised very traditional, old school, where the woman
overprotected.
has to do everything for the man. And you were kind of raised to be a housewife,
Yeah, that's true.
except they didn't even teach you how to cook and clean.
Yeah, that's why, but don't do it yourself. Well, because we had maids at home,
Uh-huh.
so I never learned how to cook.
But it's just the culture, like, that's, you just follow your man. And that's what you did pretty much my whole life, is all of these crazy things that dad was able to be and do is because you just followed along and supported him. You were just his cheerleader, like, okay, let's go. And yeah, your main priority was raising the kids, and that was your role, until the divorce.
Yeah, and it's you kind of lose yourself in a way, you know. And at my age, finally figuring out who I am again.
I think we
Yeah.
never stopped figuring it out. We're always trying to discover
Yeah.
who we are and what we want. But so, like, even though the divorce was tragic and hard, and like you said, finding out who you were, like, for the longest time, you were just kind of like a mom bee, like a zombie mom who would just follow along. And I didn't even know who you were. Like, I just thought of you as the mother who does whatever to please her husband and children. And so, like, when the divorce happened, and yeah, I was going through puberty, and you were going through menopause, and all of the things. Um, and yeah, like I said, you would leave me in Norwood. But it's because, yeah, you were finally going out for yourself and doing things for yourself. And for me, as a young teenager, I was just like, what about me? Who's going to take care of me? And like, I don't know. It's just like seeing that new side of you, and then also seeing you like get all these jobs and become a working mom and a single mom. And so, like, it's kind of, yeah, like having like two different moms. Like, I saw like the housewife, homemaker mom, and then I also got to witness like the working single mom while I was like um, becoming a woman myself.
Trying to define yourself, yeah, in the world. I was just pretty much going through the motions because I had no other choice, you know. All of the sudden, I didn't have any income, so
He literally kicked you out, yeah.
yeah.
Not just like he literally kicked you out of the continent.
Well, that's another story, but yeah, it was hard. It was hard, and I guess there's another thing that you don't have time to have a pity party. You just gotta do, and go, you know.
Mhm.
And right now I see it like a movie, you know, I just play it like a movie. And oh, yeah, I was one of the main characters in there, you know.
Mhm.
And now the pain is, of that is really gone. So it's very easy to look at it in a different perspective, you know. There's just, we're just human beings and make mistakes.
Yes. Okay. Back to my introduction.
Okay.
You were talking about my accomplishments and whatever.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, like, these degrees don't really make me any more accomplished than what I think you and Dad have done as, yeah, like, immigrants in this country, and like just the lives you've led and the things you've done, and yeah, the things that you've provided for me and Jeff. And like, I don't want you to feel like these stupid pieces of paper or anything more than that, because I don't think it is. And that's one of the many things that I argue with my professors about. Like, I don't care about your degrees.
Well,
Like,
I
what
guess
about life?
that is the beauty of you, you know, that you're able to see people from what they really are.
And that's because of what you guys accomplished and provided me, of like
Or
getting to meet like a million different kinds of people.
the values, I guess you learn
Mhm.
where the real values are, and that makes me feel accomplished and so grateful for you too. Because here we are, we had the proof of your education. And I honestly had to say that I am proud because no one in our family expected this outcome, you know. Here,
From the crazy gypsy family.
from the Crazy Gise family, we have a child that has a master degree, which none in our family has. And yet, she's still gonna go and study more. So it shows her personality, perseverance, and really how focused you are and what you believe.
Yeah, I would say more passionate.
Passionate, yeah.
Because, yeah, my whole life, all you guys ever talked about was education, education. And you guys would just say, like, oh, the reason we're in the situation we're in is because we don't have an education. And like, all you guys would just drill in me that I needed an education my whole life. So I was like, okay, education's important, I guess. And so, yeah, going through all these different school systems, having all these different teachers, like different methods and theories, and yeah, just legal systems. Like, I guess I looked at it more as like the logistics of education rather than like, because most people tend to just be stuck in one system and they don't even know that all the other systems out there. But I've had the opportunity to like experience education in different states, different cities, different countries. Like, I, I know it can be different. And of course, there's no one perfect way. But there are solutions to problems that most people can't really see because they haven't witnessed the things that I've witnessed, and their perspective is a little more narrow than my like worldwide view. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, it's going back to that. Yeah, the opportunities without really realizing were there with all the lifestyle that we put you through it, which I'm sure many times wasn't easy for a young girl or a young teenager, and to understand all that is really going on, you know, which she was. I mean, from my perspective, wasn't too stable, but you managed to have a stability in your life, and that's the end result, you know.
Well, mainly because of Dom, but yeah.
Yeah, that is true too.
And he's the one who's putting me through all this education too.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of it because we started a part of it.
Yeah.
And then this is now because you are with him now. This is the other side of it. The continuity.
Mm-hmm. So anything else you want to add to my introduction or no?
I don't know. I guess at the beginning I didn't really have it clear. You know, if to me you're my daughter.
Well, that's the thing. Here we're just gonna be talking. That's what a podcast is. You're not like reading a script or whatever. You can have topics. Like our topic is introducing ourselves.
Well, this is my daughter, Gabriela Pires, who I am very
Sanchez.
pleased. Oh, Sanchez. I'm sorry, Gabriela Sanchez now, and who I am very pleased.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just add a little bit.
What?
I said I guess I'll just add a little bit.
What?
That yes. So another thing that drove me to finish my education was having my daughter when I was 24 at the time, working at horrible daycare, and yes, being a server. And I realized, okay, this is fine for just taking care of myself, but to take care of another human, I need to get it together. So she is also what drove me to go back to school and change my life, have bigger goals. And then now I'm pregnant with the second. And I'm 37 weeks. I'm due in like what?
Like in 18 days.
Something like that, yeah. And then, yeah, like you said, I'm hoping to go to law school next school year. And that's a whole nother adventure. And then happy to have you here to help out with the kids, and help make that possible. Because, yeah, without you and Dom, I couldn't do any of the things that I'm doing. That's all I can think of for now. Anything else you want to add to you?
No, I'm just happy also to be here and to be a support to you. And you are giving me support emotionally, economically too. So I feel very blessed to be here and being very blessed to be able to be part of raising my grandchildren. It's something that, yeah, has, you cannot put price on it. I just hope that God give me health and strength many, many more years.
Which, yeah, thankfully now that you're not working, you have the time to focus on your health.
Yes, and starting with going to the gym
and diet
and watching what I eat. Yeah, paying more attention to myself or what goes on with me, which I didn't really do before. So,
And so, what are your hopes for this podcast, or goals, or ideas, or thoughts?
well, I think the original idea is like for you and I to clear things up, to put some thoughts and ideas together, because as we go through the motions of doing and raising the kids, sometimes you don't have time to just see how things are going or how we're doing it. Sometimes you just get caught up in the moment, and I think this will be a way of really understanding more from the intellectual point. What are we contributing to each other? What we are lacking in, what we need to improve or change, and that would be a good thing for both of us.
Yeah, because even though both of us are happy with our current situation, obviously nothing's perfect, and everybody has their daily life challenges.
Yeah, and it's not easy because it's two minds, two brains trying to do things, and everybody has different perspectives of how things should be, different expectations too, and sometimes they can be totally different. Sometimes they don't seem so important to me, it might be very important to you, and vice versa.
Yeah, and especially because of the age gap, since you had me at like almost 40, there's like a whole other like generation in between us. And then also, yeah, I obviously had a more like Western upbringing versus you had a more like, I don't even know what the terms are. Just say old school.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
More traditional. Yeah, just different views of what a child is, what life is. Yeah, our priorities are just different.
Yeah, definitely, to say the least. You had more structure than what I ever had, growing up and seeing things. It's just different, I guess. It's just different because growing up in Colombia, like, I didn't feel like I had to. We were pretty, just went to school, come home, had lunch, took a nap, do our homework.
But yeah, you also didn't have, well, I guess you did get TV, but like,
Oh, technology of today, yeah. The
yeah,
distractions of today, yeah.
internet, like, now you have to think of so many things, like, what is my child being exposed to? And then, yeah, also having that education background of, like, constantly thinking of, like, the psychology behind everything, like, what is she learning? How is this gonna, like affect, like, how she views the world, and, yeah, her development.
Oh, yeah. It's way more difficult now, I think.
A lot more to think about. But yeah. You also had three sisters.
They were pretty much my playmates, as we just play with each other and stay pretty much home. We were very protected by my dad, so he didn't want too much interaction with other kids or even with our own relatives. He said, "You had each other, just played each other. That's good enough."
Mm-hmm.
Which, for the most part, it was true. That was enough for kids inside the house all the time. It was fun.
So, are there any, like, topics or things you want to cover in the future
With us,
for the podcast?
uh, yeah, pretty much. This what we mentioned is the different views of how we do things or see things, approach things. But I think we have it pretty much figured out. It's just, yeah, sometimes once in a while, yeah, you have forget things. But I think overall, we we are knowing each other more because now I know get the chance to know you as a mom, as an adult, as a wife, which is totally different than just being a daughter. You know, it's like all these new different
Yeah.
parts of you that you are now.
And that, yeah, now I have to be on a daily basis too. Like, that's another thing. Like, speaking of motherhood and womanhood and my role. So, yeah, when I first married Dom, it started out as, yeah, just a wife. And then I became a mother, and then now I'm also simultaneously a daughter. Like, on a daily basis, I'm a mother, a wife, and a daughter, and I have to, like, yeah, the dynamics are very,
Yeah, sometimes it's hard.
it can be overwhelming.
And being pregnant on top of it.
Yes. But, like, I feel very lucky that, like, yeah, obviously I play an important role in everybody's life, and I'm happy to be that person. But yeah, sometimes it's just like I also just want to be myself.
Yeah, that's hard to find yourself when you are a mom, I think, because most of your time or energy and effort goes to be a mom. And I don't know if you have any leftover during the day at some point to be
Yeah.
especially when the kids are so little.
Yeah. Or even like with outings, like I'll spend a day with Junior, and then I'm like, okay, and then I'll like spend the day with Dom, like have a date night, whatever. And then I'm like, well, yeah, I need to go out, like have a mother-daughter time with you. So like at the same time, it's like I need to do all these things, but like I also feel lucky that I have the chance to like, oh yeah, I get to keep going out with all these people that
Because
I love.
everybody wants to cheer you.
Yeah.
You are the main character
hmm
in all these episodes.
But yeah, speaking of being a mother and wife, they just got home, so it's probably gonna get kind of loud in here. I think that's a solid introduction.
I think so too.
So that's a brief overview of some of the things we try to hope to cover in the future. I'd like to do it weekly.
Hopefully, yeah.
But yeah, baby's gonna be here soon. Think life just continues to be chaotic. So
Weekly will be the goal. We'll
yes.
see what happens.
But yeah, that is our introduction for Mama's Momma.
Yes.
We hope people enjoy it and look forward to coming back next week.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for watching.
Thank you.
And thank you too.